So very good morning. So let us start with unit number 2. The three types of sensors we are going to discuss in this unit number 2 are motion sensor, proximity sensor and range sensor. For today's class, let us discuss about motion sensor and an encoders. Okay, so unit number 2 is as follows. We will see about motion sensor. In motion sensor, we will use potentiometers. So potentiometers are like a part varying the intensity. So in order to vary the intensity, you use this. Then solver we will separately see when we come for synchronous. So all solvers are comes under synchronous type. Then comes your encoders. Encoder, you have optical encoder, magnetic encoder, inductive and capacitive. And today's class, let us discuss alone motion sensor and an optical encoder. Okay, then we will continue with magnetic. All this see so you can ask me question that, sir, you have optical, then why you want to go for magnetic, why you want to go for inductive and capacitive. This is only based upon the application. Okay, in some application where I cannot go and insert a light source, so in that case already that person may have some magnetic property. For example, when you have any machines, so in machines you have stator and rotor. There are some advanced machines where stator and rotor position has to be identified, and then you have to go for magnetization. So in that case, I have to identify where is the position of my rotor. So identify the position of rotor, I will place sensor. There I will go only for magnetic. I cannot go for optical because already there is stator or rotor, either one baby will be in magnetic condition. So based upon that I can identify the position. Similarly, inductive and capacitive is where you have some field effects. So there are different types of encoders. Okay, so motion sensor, the term motion sensor can be used to refer to any kind of sensing system in which used to detect the motion for change from one position to other position, motion of any object or motion of human beings. So when there is a person is moving from one location to another location, then we try to identify there is some change, and that is called as motion sensor. Is also called as motion detector. So any movement is there, we can detect. Motion sensors are commonly used in security system as a triggerer for automatic lights or remote alarm or similar applications. See, you can even not only you can connect to light, you can connect to siren buff like that, so that if unwanted person enter a particular room, then automatically your alarm starts. So even at your home you can, there is no need that you have to put only lights. So you can make the circuit and keep it in your car parking or any area where if unwanted any person is coming at that region, then automatically the alarm will start. Okay, then comes your types. Similar to all, here also we have active sensor and passive sensor. So there is something called active motion sensor and there is a person called passive motion sensor. Similarly, the word we might have seen before, it is same. When you will call a person to be a passivist, he is not having any individual source or he doesn't have any source, then you call it as passive. Active is the sensor itself will have some source, it will try to send that source and try to detect whether there is any motion. Okay, I repeat, when you see as a passive one, the detecting is not done by any external source. So detecting from the object itself, we call it as passive. Whereas in active, I will send a signal and I will receive it back. Based upon the signal sent and received, I will identify the motion. So it is called as active. So let us start with passive. You might have heard this word called PIR sensor. Okay, so PIR sensor rate is around 300 to 350 alone. You can buy this. So top of the sensor, a plastic cup is there. This cup we call it as a special type of lens. I will tell you what type of lens it is. So this is a lens. Okay, so inside you have a sensor. So PIR, which is nothing but passive IR sensor. IR is infrared. Infrared, we all know that infrared is nothing but heat which is being generated and which is being transmitted. So we are also generating an heat which is around 98 degrees, so that we call it as our temperature. Okay, so PIR sensor allow you to sense the motion, almost always used to detect whether a human has moved in or out of a sensor range. they are small, inexpensive, so you can buy. A low power consumption also is very less, easy to use, and don't wear out. If you buy and place it, over a period of time there won't be any happening, so it will be there without any damage. Okay, that is what we have told. For that reason, they are commonly found in applications and gadgets used in homes and business. They are often referred as PIR, passive infrared, or pyroelectric, or IR motion sensor. Whatever you want you can call it, but it is called as passive infrared. IR is for infrared. Okay, so how it is being detected is, human as an, I told you have a temperature. So when you temperature is red, when closer to your body it will be in dark red in color, and temperature of our outer surface will be less, so that is light reddish color, and outside your cloth and all it will be very less in temperature, so that will be in yellow in color. So now you can visualize, the dotted box indicates my range, so that is the range where the infrared are red, beyond which it is not been red. See, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so it is 8 into 8 matrix. So that location alone I can see whether there is any change in temperature. So if a person enter, the temperature will be here, and if the person move to the next location and next location, the matrix where I get high intensity will change. So initially these boxes gets maximum intensity, then once the person moves we get a maximum intensity here, and then this is to identify whether really there is any motion or it is an ideal case. See, I might have brought a vessel of hot water and kept it. In that case I cannot say it as motion detector, so nothing is there in motion. But you will read, even you will read IR. IR will be emitted from that bowl which contains hot water, and that should not be considered as motion. So okay, so what we will do is, we will try to visualize between this three figure, and we will confirm that the temperature variation has moved from one location to another location. Okay, this is not only for woman, it's human, all the living object will have a temperature. So even you can put it for at your house for to identify whether any cat or rat is entering through any particular hole. You can try to visualize this and try to record it. So all living object whose body temperature will more than 0 degree emits heat in the form of infrared radiation through the body is also called as thermal radiation. The radiation of energy is invisible to human eyes. What is the temperature you emit, we cannot visualize. So okay, so it is invisible. Then these signals can be detected by using PIR sensor, which is specially designed for such purpose. So when you buy this PIR sensor and use it, then you can really, that will be more useful. Okay, so passive infrared sensor, what is there inside is, this curved portion I have told, no, that is lens. It is made such that at any instant of this curve it is then it is focused on this particular PIR element. Okay, that is what I told. I will tell even in the upcoming slide, it will be more clear how the direction is being pointed here. So wherever IR falls on this semicircle, then it will be focused to fall on PIR element. So this PIR element is like a piezoelectric crystal, where this piezoelectric crystal, what is, whenever there is temperature falls on that, it generates electrical signal. So this signal will be very weak, so I cannot directly take it and give it to any controller or anything. So first of all I have to go for amplifier. So amplifier circuit will try to amplify. Then what is this comparator is, I have told, no, with a single heat source I cannot say whether it is a motion, so there should be some two difference. Then what we are doing is, we will have a comparator, we will compare, and the comparator is operated in differential mode. When the comparator is operated in differential mode, and if the two images are same, then the output of the differential is 0. Okay, so nothing will come. So if there is a differential is there, then you will have an output, and the power supply is, you required power supply for acting your comparator and amplifier. be very clear. I require power supply for my amplifier and comparator, not for recording or receiving the information. That is why it is called a passive. You should not think that, sir, you told any device without external power supply working, then only you have to call passive. No, for sensing the motion, I am not using any power supply. So that is why it is called as passive. Okay, power supply is being used by the person, but not by the person who is going to receive. Okay, so the structure of lens is placed like this. You have a curvature like this. So whenever light falls on this, it will get reflected and it will be focused here. So that is what I told. This is how the structure of that glass is placed, top view and bottom view when you see. So all wherever light falls on this, it will be focused on your center of the PIR sensor. So this is called as focus length. So all this has been adjusted by the manufacturer itself. That circle dia and all depends upon how you are going to focus, and wherever light falls on this particular semicircle, it will be focused on the center. So that is what the arrangement is. Here there is no need for any deflection. Here you have slight deflection, angle is they are increasing. It is 15 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree they have increased. Similarly here also. So from here I have to turn to this particular angular position. So it is being placed in 45 degree. So that is how it will be focused on the center of your PIR sensor. And the real PIR sensor, when removing the cap and all, this cap is nothing but what I have told as your focusing lens. If I remove the lens, this will be the appearance of your PIR sensor. So basically made up of pyroelectric sensor which can detect the level of infrared radiation. The figure in PIR element shows that the round metal can, this round metal can with a rectangular crystal in center. So it is a crystal basically. So we all know that crystals will convert from one to another. I think we also have a crystal in our watch which converts electrical into mechanical. That is why wristwatch are called as quartz crystal. But nowadays we doesn't go for crystal and all. Okay, olden days your watch is made up of that particular crystal which is abundantly available on earth surface. We call it as quartz. Quartz is a crystal similar to a stone which you put it in your ring. It is similarly, that is also a one type of crystal, and that crystal whenever you give electric signal it will start to vibrate, and the vibration is, it will give, when you give supply it will vibrate for 60 times in a minute, and that is what we required in watch, so we have used it. So similarly this is also a crystal. Now this crystal will convert infrared to electrical. So that is the difference between the quartz crystal and the crystal which is used in PIR sensor. Okay, now to identify whether real motion is happening, what we have done is we have lens divided into two slot. Okay, one slot and slot number 2. So if the two slot will give two input, and this two input, when you go for a differential amplifier, then you will identify whether the person has moved from slot 1 to slot 2. The sensor is split into two slot which are wired up so that they cancel each other out when the person is not moving. If one of seems more or less IR radiation, then other, the output will sing high or low. So when any one is receiving more or less compared to other, which means the object is moving. So there is a real motion because one has received with less and another one has more, and at a few seconds what will happen, it will get reversed. Slot 1 if initially gets high and compared to slot 2, after a few seconds what will happen is slot 2 will get higher value with respect to slot 1, which means human is moving. So that is how we are able to identify the motion. So okay, the input signal from both the terminal of PIR elements are amplified using amplifier circuit and compared using comparator circuit. The PIR element is covered by lens to increase the range of operation. The top portion cover or the lens is just used to increase the operating range. So if without lens we are putting, then we can only cover a short distance, which means it will not be useful. So in order to increase the range, we go for a lens type arrangement. So what will happen at ideal ideal case when there is no object or the object is not moving. In that case, sensor use an element RE00B for infrared detection. Both the slot of the sensors are connected to differential amplifier. When the sensor is ideal, both slot detect same amount of IR. And again we know when the differential amplifier, when the two inputs are same, output is 0. So there is no error signal between differential amplifier. The output of the comparator circuit is 0. So when both the slot reach the same amount of temperature, then it is observed that the object is not moving, the object is stationary, so there is no motion which is taking place. So that is how we will conclude. And if the object is in motion, what happens is initially one will be at high, another one will be low, and this next situation the case reverses. So now there will be output from your comparator, which is nothing but a differential amplifier. So then we will identify that the object is moving. So from that we will identify the motion of that particular thing. Okay, so this is the pin diagram. When you go and buy from a shop, when you ask them PIR sensor board, they will give a PIR sensor board. The thing which you want to know is the pin details. So this is, when you reverse it, there are 3 pins here. One is for ground, another one is for output. So output will be either high or low. Then third one is power, usually plus 5 volt we will give. Then for adjusting the sensitivity, okay, so when you are placing in robot or any car or toy, then you will decrease the sensitivity. But when you measure human being by placing this sensor on the top of the ceiling, then you have to increase the sensitivity. Time delay is if a person is moving, how much time delay I can give. Okay, so that is how. So this is what I have told in a star hotel and all. When you keep your step, the light will glow and then it will give a some amount of delay, and then it will again switch off. So that delay time you can adjust with the board itself. You can, if you want, you can keep more. So if you are in car parking, then car parking cannot be done within 2 or 3 seconds. So what you can do is you can keep more time delay. So till you place the car, come out, close the car, the LED or the lamp which you are connected, which will glow. So that is this time delay. So apart from this too, there is one more thing which is called as jumper setup, and there is a arrangement that when you place it in edge jumper, then it is a repeat trigger, which means it is not one shot. I think you might have not studied LIC. If you study LIC, you will become known as one shot and multiple shots. One shot is it will give only one pulse, and repeat trigger is nothing but till that object move out of the entire area, it will be in the one condition itself. We will see what is single trigger and repeat trigger and all. So single trigger, see, you can identify here. I have identified a motion here. I have detected there is a motion there. So what happens is, once I have identified this motion, I will generate a pulse, and this pulse width depends upon delay. So here you are specifying delay. Say I am specifying delay as 0.5 seconds, which means all the pulse, whenever output is there, I will get the same delay as 0.5 seconds, irrespective of the motion occurring. See here the motion is okay, here the motion is less, and here the motion is more. But even though there is such thing is there, only you are getting a pulse. Okay, and this pulse is for single. So only one pulse with the specified time. Even you can reduce the time also. You can keep 1 second, 2 seconds like that. So the pulse width will be less. This is usually done where I am taking this pulse and controlling the appliances with another controller. Then I will go only for single shot. But if directly the appliances is connected to my output, then I will not go for single, I will go for the entire range. So here jumper setting we have seen, you have to keep it in low position. So once you keep in low position, then it works on single trigger mode. Repeat triggered mode, I have to keep the jumper in the one mode. Once you keep the jumper in one, now you can visualize this is the entire time. So this motion is occurring only at this particular portion, but for my entire period my output is there. Okay, so now what happens is, motion is only this region, then there is no motion, but also your output remains one till it covers the entire cycle. So only for entire cycle, if you say it as 100%, till 98% you will have output. After 98% you will have zero output for that remaining 2%. Again see here, now the irrespective of motion time, you have an output for the entire region. So for entire region you will have output, that is called as repeat trigger. All such things will be used when this from the PIR output itself, if you are directly connecting to a lamp, then you want this type of method, you should have a repeat trigger. So this is the where I have entered the house, that is car parking. I have parked the car. So once I have parked the car, then there will be no temperature difference read by the sensor, but even then also it should give me some time, so that I have to come out, lock it and come back. So till that time, you can see here the output is in air itself. So till that time, when you connect it to a light, that will be glow, till that instant it will be glowing. So this is the difference between single and repeat. Okay, so how to test PIR sensor when you buy from a shop, how to sense. So this is the circuit configuration you have to give. So you should have a battery source followed by an LED and a resistor. Just connect a 5 volt between ground and VCC and an LED. Okay, when you connect this, when you try to give, and when you bring your hand closer to the sensor, this LED will glow, which is nothing but the temperature of your hand is been read by your PIR sensor. Okay, so next let us move on to active motion sensor. What we have seen is passive. Now let us move on to active motion sensor. In active motion sensor is nothing but I will emit a rays, and that rays will go on it and get reflected. Based upon the reflected wave, I will try to read. Okay, whatever I send will not be reflected, will be observed by the object. If there is any object, then the object will observe, otherwise the entire will get reflected back. So this might have you seen in all English movies. When they want to try to protect any object, they will keep it and they will send laser lights and all. So this laser lights will go and reflect and come back. If there is any human cuts this particular, then reflection will not be there. So hence reflection is not there, I will identify there is some motion. Okay, so that is how we are doing here. Whatever possible is, I can send a light wave, or I can send a microwave, or I can send a sound wave. Okay, light is usually is sent where there is no security and all is required. In that case I will send light. If security, then there's no one should visualize that there is some sensor has been kept. In that case I will go for microwave. Sound wave will be used when you go for underground water distance measurement using in ships. So they will go for sound, because sound at normal if you keep, then that will also be a disturbance and that will affect. So there we will not. So based upon the application, you have to select the type of source which is used for detecting the motion. Okay, the reflected signal is received by the sensor and takes necessary action. When something moves within the area of active motion sensor, the change in signal that is reflected to the sensor activates the system. Okay, and you might have seen an example for in all cinema theaters and all, there they use active motion sensor for your taps, where they, when you go and show your tap, then the light source from your tap is been cut. So from here there will be a light source. This light source will travel to the next end, and intermediately if you try to bring your hand, this will be cut. Here I can keep light source because this is not the application where any security is required. So in that case, when a person visualize this light also, that is not going to have any issue. So that is why we keep it light here. For example, when automatic sense, and so all this we can even give now. Due to corona time, everything can be made automatic. So even hand sanitizer or no need the person to go and touch the switch. So you can keep everything in automatic condition, so that there is no physical contact. So but this is the one of the motion sensor. Okay, example with the light. Okay, then microwave motion sensor, which is so good, but there are some issues with the microwave. because microwave should not pass through human, so that will disturb your cell structure itself. So when there is prolonged usage or when aging, then it may leads to some disease, like where you will have constant shivering. And that constant shivering, you might have seen some elderly people, they will have that constant shivering, and this constant shivering is because of the microwave which is disturbed you. And even they might have got it at the age of 70, but the forest and all, at the age of 45 itself we can feel this vibration, due to because this is taking place in your cell phone. All cell phone use microwave. So as per IEEE standard, I think you all know what is IEEE. IEEE is going to tell the standard, and worldwide IEEE standard says maximum microwave power or the microwave signal power can be 150 milliwatts. Okay, but a country like India, where we doesn't follow any rules or standards, the telephone providers or cell phone providers, they are supposed to send only microwave with a power range of 150 milliwatts. But we used to complain that this only Airtel gets signal everywhere, which means its microwave wavelength is very high, which means I think you all know that they are using very high power level, and it is around 1500 milliwatts, or which is nothing but 1.5 watts. So for every second your body is receiving 1.5 watts from external. So think about what will happen to your cell. Surely the cell will get disturbed, and there is a chance for vibration. So that is what the problem with microwave. So usually microwave based motion detector for human we will not use. Okay, so it will send and receive the microwave. Based upon the microwave which is getting back, we will identify whether motion is there. Okay, so it emits a frequency in microwave. Microwaves are nothing but very high frequency, that's all. Okay, any signal you might have seen about 25 kilo 50 hertz and all. 50 hertz is the frequency which is given from power supply, and that itself we are unable to visualize. When you have any incandescent lamp at home, try to watch the incandescent lamp, you cannot even identify that incandescent lamp is turning on and off at 50 hertz, which means at 20 milliseconds. So for every 20 milliseconds it is been turned off and on 2 times, but our eyes is unable to visualize less than seconds. So that milliseconds variation and all we were unable to identify. So that is the case for normal frequency, whereas in microwave it will be in order of gigahertz. So obviously we cannot identify the change in frequency, that is from 1 to 0 and 0 to 1. Detect the change in frequency and change in amplitude to determine the motion of the object. Often amplifiers and DSP algorithms are used to determine the motion accurately in a noisy environment too, whereas when previously we have seen with help of IR, that if a person is kept at that sensor at a place where there is so many disturbance, then that will not give an accurate output, whereas microwave and all will give accurate output. So even in noisy environment it will try to provide a good result. Sensor based on speed and size of the object coverage. Distance of microwave sensor depends on speed. So here now distance is not a problem, but the far end also you can try to read with the help of your microwave sensor. Usually it will be 1.5 to 2 times the height of the object from the slow to fast moving of 40 kilometers per hour. Objects also can be recorded using microwave motion sensors. Advantage, it use harsh environment, which means even under if the environment under any condition also we can use to read, where each cycles are irregular, and if you don't have a regular each cycle also there is no problem with microwave. It has lifespan of around 100,000 hours, that is case of microwave, but there are some disadvantages. Microwave radiations is hazardous for health, and hence low power microwave sensors are preferred. Microwave frequency do not prevent metal objects prone for false alarm due to blowing of object due to wind. Also emission from fluorescent lights, if there is any fluorescent light, then that emission will also be in red. The operates they operates at a regular interval, and hence sometimes it is been left notified also. Then we move on to the second topic of today's section, which is nothing but an encoder. So an encoder is a sensor of mechanical motion that generates. So till now what we have seen is linear motion. So for linear motion, what we have to do, we have seen as PIR and microwave. Now for angular motion, from one position to another position, motion is in terms of angular thing, then we will go for encoder. Then comes the person for encoder. So encoder is for usually for a mechanical motion, that is rotational motion, that generate digital signal in response to motion. As an electromechanical device, an encoder is able to provide motion control system uses with information concerning position, velocity and the direction. Now you can clearly visualize what we have seen previously, where only motion, so I cannot go for direction and all, where with the encoder I can go for direction. Again there are two types of encoder, one is linear, another rotatory. So linear encoder responds to motion along a path, while a rotary encoder responds to the rotational motion. And encoders are generally classified by the means of its output. An incremental encoder generate a train of pulse which can use to determine the position and the speed. An absolute encoder generate a unique configuration task position directly. So now I will tell you this encoder. I told there are two types. One, they call it as incremental encoder. Incremental encoder are used only for speed measurement, speed of your machine, speed of your vehicle, where you will get a continuous pulse. So you should know how many pulse forms one revolution. So if you will just count. So for example, if you have 10 pulse, it is a one revolution. Then if you are getting 1000, you will identify how many times the disc has rotated within the particular time. So for 1 minute, if the disc has revolved for 40 times, it is 40 kilometers per hour. So that is how. So this one is used only for incremental encoder, is only used for determining the speed, whereas this absolute encoder, I will directly get a digital value for the particular rotational. Okay, we will see in detail. So incremental measure the displacement relative to the reference point. From a reference point, how much value of degree it has rotated. So within one revolution you talk with respect to degree. If more than one revolution, we will talk with respect to speed. That is the difference. Just take down. In case of incremental, if it is less than one revolution, we call it as displacement relative to the reference point. If it is more revolution, then we will tell about speed. So in absolute, measure absolute position, you have advantage. A missed reading does not affect the next reading, so only need power on what taking a reading. Disadvantage, more expensive and complex in nature. Okay, constructing that encoder is little bit complex. Now you will understand better when you move further. For an encoder, what and all is required is, first you required is a light source. So from here you have to send a light source, and the second important is you should a person to have received this light. One person to send, one person to receive, and the center person play the role. And the center person, we call it as opaque disk or code disk. This code disk only we are going to say whether it is incremental type or the second type. In second type, whether you are going to go for binary or any other way of representation. Okay, so now you can see here there is a disk. In this disk I have put a hole. Okay, so now what happened, this is the light source, and this is the person who is going to read. So for how many times he will read for one revolution is, which is nothing but number of holes. So for example, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, which means I will get a 12 pulse. Once I receive the 12th pulse, then it is clear the disk has gone for one revolution. Okay, so for I will wait by counting. Just I will start my counting. So 1 2 3, then if I get 12, I will understand that it has rotated one full 360 degree. If I am getting only 1 2, then 360 divided by 12, which is nothing but 30 degree. So if the disk rotates by 30 degree, then what happens is from this first hole it will come to second hole, which means one pulse will be generated and another pulse will be generated. If one more pulse is generated, it is 60 degree, one more pulse 90 degree, one more pulse 120 degree, and similarly it will reaches, if this count every pulse and come back to the condition, it has went for 360 degree. So now again I will tell you, you have a light source, the light source is coming from there, this is the disk which we are using, the disk has 12 holes, so 30 degree for each hole. So initially light from here will cross and reach here. Once the disk moves 30 degree, what happens is this hole will come here, so it has moved 30 degree. Okay, so that is how we are going to measure. So you should have a total covering for this, so that is this outer covering box. Then the signal which is coming from here will be weak, you have to do all sorts of amplification and all. For that you will have a circuitry board which is called as electronic assembly board. Then photo detector array, which is nothing but this particular device which is going to detect, so that is been drawn here. Then comes your disk, so that is been written as coded disk or spindle assembly. So this is the coded disk. Then light source and the mask, you will have a light source and this light source will be going here. Now this projected is there, no, this is going to receive the rotation from the outside. So then again this bearing and assembly, so all this will be put together, and the thing which will come out of the device is only this rod, and if this rod is rotated angularly, then correspondingly this disk will rotate. The corresponding disk is rotated read by the two person, which is nothing but a light source and a light receiver. So this is with respect to an encoder. Okay, again we are saying that you have a light source here, and light source is being given to the lens. I am coding disk, so when this coding disk it passes and comes here as an output, from this output you will give it to amplifier, photodiode based amplifier. Then that amplifier you will again go for differential, then only we will conclude and you will give the output. So this is how the encoder is working. Okay, so now you can have whatever fashion you want, you can have your disk. So this disk whatever fashion you want. So first initially they started with only one source, then what they might have think, why can't we keep 4 light source and 4 receiver? Then what happens is, what you get is a binary value of 4 bit. Okay, that is what they see, everything day by day they go for thing, and now you can see here. So this is incremental, where only one slot will be there. So this is the starting slot and this is the ending slot. Now when you increase more number of slots, then you will get more resolution with respect to reduce in degree. See, if it is only 4 slot, then it is 90, 180, 270, 360. If it is, when you increase from 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 12, you say it as 30 degree, each and every slot is 30 degree. I think here they might have increased and brought it to even 360 degree. So 360 slots you can put maximum, that what I am saying, maximum you can put 360, beyond 360 you cannot put, and putting 360 also is little bit tedious. This is might be 120. Okay, if you are keeping 120, then each opening is for 2 degree, so total you will get 360 degree. Here you have to see there is only one slot, so only one light source and only one light receiver, whereas you can see here 1 2 3 4, there are 4 slots, so there should be 4 light sending person and light receiving person. And you can see here, whatever it is black, it is not opening, whatever white is in opening. Now you can see all 4s are white, then 3 are white, then they are changing it as, see here it is 1111, it is 1110, here 1101, here it is 1100, 1011, 1001. So what they are putting is, they are trying to generate a directly binary, so I can directly give it to some controllers. Here that and all is not possible, only one slot, one light source and one receiver. So this is used only for speed measurement. That is what I told, incremental disk, where you can only speed. But here you can see, from this to this position I will get directly digital value. So for 30 degree, you can see what is the degree here. They are put a 15 slot, so 360 is divided by 15. So each and everything you can correspondingly you can calculate the degree, what is the degree. So from one position to another position you will get it as a binary value itself. Here binary with 4 1, here binary with 3 1s and 0. So this is for binary, and you should know what is called gray code. Gray code is 8431. So it is representing the entire digital into binary with an help of a number called 8421. So one digit is called 8, another digit is 4, another digit is 2, another digit is 1. Wherever if you have 1, then you have to multiply. For example, in the 8th column if you have 1, the output is 8. So you can represent from 0 to value. So that is called gray code. So this gray code diagram is drawn here. So you can see it as everything is 0, then 1, then 2 digits 1. So if it is 1 digit 1, we call it as 8421. So value is 1. If this 2 is 1, value is 3. If this is there, value is 2. If this is there, the value is 8421. So 4 value will become 6. So this is for gray code method, and this is for binary method. This binary method only 4 bit can be got for maximum of possibility, what is all zeros to all 1. So 2 to the power 4 you can get it here, where here you can get it 2 to the power 8. So that is the difference between these two. Okay, now how we are going to identify the degree. So when it is there in bit 1, everything is 0. You call it, the angle is between 0 to 45 and the decimal value is 0. If this is getting 1, I will identify angle is between 45 to 90 degree. This is what I have told with the circle itself. Directly with the circle I have explained you. Okay, directly with the circle I have explained you what is the degree. This has been tabulated here. So what I told, angle we will start from 0 and angle will reach 360. That is the maximum case. So I can measure 0 angle to 360 degree angle with the binary coded value, which is I am getting from that particular disk. Similarly, this is for gray code. Similarly, for similar with the binary, gray code will also identify the angle between 0 to 360 degree based upon the ones and zeros which you are getting from this gray code. Here you can see everything is 1. Here it is 1 1 0. So similarly, you will get it as your value as 0 0 0 or 0 0 1 or 0 1 1 or 1 1 1. So it is from 0 degree to 360 degree. Then encoder reliability is what is the number of total is 360 divided by number of slot, you get a value for a particular degree. This is what I have told. So between one slot to another slot, see here I have drawn here four openings are there. So if from this to this, if it is moving, then you have moved 90 degree. So 360 divided by 4, so your value is 90 degree. When this disk is usually will be connected to the outside person who is in rotation. So if that outside person rotate, then this disk will rotate. When this disk rotates, I will identify the degree of rotation. So that is what we call it as resolution. Then encoder's error, usually at the manufacturer itself you will have quantization error, and when you assemble the disk inside, if you are keeping any bent or any fold in disk, then you will have assembly error. Then manufacturing tolerance. Manufacturing tolerance is code printing accuracy, sensor position and irregularities in the signal generation. Now we will see application. So when you go and buy a encoder, it will be like this. It will be a circle. I have told this part is called the encoder which we are placing, and this is the motor. So motor with the encoder itself is there. So you can get the angle position from here, take that angle position to the microcontroller, program it and give pulse. So if you give pulse, the motor will rotate only for that particular angle. So from 0 it will move to 40 degree, 45 degree. So these types of motors are used in automatic aircraft where the rotation of the blades. So when you want to move the blade, when you want to take the aircraft, or when you want to land. So all that this you need an angular motion. Similarly in your robotics, so where you use this. So these are the applications where DC motor control in robotics, then mechanical capture mouse, then digital readouts for message, then tachometers. So there are so many applications of your encoders. So with this we will stop today. Thank you.